Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a review for Transformers The Last Knight because everyone else is. So hop on the trend train, why not, right? I'm just going to do my likes, things they could have done better, and some big questions that never got answered. If you see me looking up that way, that's because I typed all of my shit out. So I'm just going to be reading it off of my computer screen. So, starting with likes. First off, we have Barricade is back. And I, for one, really loved his new design. The 2017 Ford Mustang police car is really badass, and I love the paint. That's blue-white with the black stripe down the middle of the hood. His new robot mode is pretty damn cool. The four eyes, when they show that in the close-up of him, is really freaking awesome. And then when he actually transforms in that underground parking structure, when we see Megatron for the first time, and they show off his punish and enslave brass knuckles, that was awesome. I have to say that was really awesome. Speaking of Megatron, guess what? He's back. And I really love the new Megatron. His head is super cool with that whole horn helmet look. His fusion cannon, finally they got that right. And they even used the same firing sound effect that his gun used from Transformers Dark of the Moon. And of course his vehicle is the jet mode, which I know a lot of people, including myself, would say that was long overdue. So yeah. Oh, and with that being about Megatron, we never really saw him die on screen when Optimus Prime kicks his butt out of the ship there, so I have a feeling that he's gonna come back. Yeah. Alright. Continue with likes. The beginning of the movie I thought was really good. When you have the Paramount logo coming on screen, and then those fireballs just coming right out. Like, I saw it in 2D. I think that would have been probably the coolest part, maybe the only coolest part in 3D. But and then you have all the explosions with the two armies clashing, and it was just awesome. They don't show many of the knights fighting like close up very much, but I mean, I think that works. And then they wrap up the scene with the knight giving the staff to Merlin, and then all the knights transform into Dragonstorm to go and then ride off to go help. And while we're on top of Dragonstorm, he was cool. I think he was really, really cool. That concept of having 12 knights come together to form him was really awesome and just very well executed. It doesn't make sense, I suppose, with the toy being only 2 bots to form him, but it probably would be terribly hard to engineer that, and then you'd get something way bigger than a leader class figure would probably ever go, like probably something besides like Metroplex's toy from Fall of Cybertron, from the Generations line. All the nods that this movie made to lore and other movies. Of course, the whole Earth being Unicron thing from Transformers Prime. Oh, the little nods in the score to Age of Extinction. And then, of course, at the end, when Optimus Prime comes rolling out of the smoke, when you have the Autobot theme from the 2007 movie playing, that was really, really good to me, anyways. What else? You get the crashed alien ship that was still on the moon, of course, until Cybertron destroys the moon, which is obviously a nod to Dark of the Moon. Topspin, Autobot Topspin was in Cuba, another Dark of the Moon thing there. We'll talk about him more in the section of things they could have done better, because we'll get to that later. Another Dark of the Moon reference, obviously, is that junk Autobot finding Starscream's head was actually pretty funny, and then Megatron finds it when he and his cons get to the junkyard. That was really good. What else liked? Obviously, the action scenes, being a Michael Bay movie, were spectacular, and the CGI was, as expected to be. Very, very awesome. The World War II flashback, I really enjoyed that part, with Hot Rod and Bumblebee, and it was nice to get some background information on those two characters as well. Now, Anthony Hopkins' character, Sir Edmund Burton, he was great. I understand that he was more of the exposition character, but his comedy bits, like when he and Cogman are driving and he flips off the guy in the other car, and he's swearing and cursing and calls the guy a dickhead, and and then of course in the end he just musters all this courage up to just attack Megatron. It was just really, really great. I mean, he was great. And then threatening the Prime Minister of Great Britain with a transforming watch that supposedly killed Hitler was fantastic. Cogman was executed in a very good way, in my opinion. You have the butler aspect that was obviously there, and the psychopath aspect, when he attacks Cade and stuff like that. Particular favorite when Sir Edmund Burton is dumping exposition onto Cade and Vivian, and of course Cogman's up there playing the organ or singing from the balcony like an opera singer, and Sir Edmund Burton just yells at him to shut up. That was funny. Optimus Prime's return to Cybertron, I thought, was very good. We finally got there from the last movie. Quintessa was a nice addition to the character roster. I mean, obviously she's a Quintesson. There's not much other information about her besides that. The scene when they put that new voice box in Bumblebee and it's not his right voice, and then Bumblebee just rips it out. I thought that was funny. I, for one, found a lot of the jokes in the movie to be really funny, but that's just me, I guess. Now, I really appreciated that they actually, in this movie, took the time to actually give most of the characters transformations. Because like in Age of Extinction, we didn't see Hound, Crosshairs, or Drift transform actually in frame, and that KSI parts forming crap was just crap and an insult to the name of the movie, if you ask me. So I appreciated the transformations. We still don't see Crosshairs transform. I don't know what they're trying to hide, if there's just like some magic to him, but I want to see that, honestly. But even if the transformations were really quick, which they obviously were, um, it's you know, it's fine, really. Bumblebee finally getting his voice back was, or I should say, is long overdue for the franchise as a whole. And lastly, you don't hear in the movie much of the actual score composed by Steve Jablonsky, however you say his last name. But you know, I listened to it on my own off of YouTube, and I really enjoyed his score. I mean, I enjoy all of his scores for Transformers and other movies too. So I liked it. Now we're gonna do the things that could have been done better. So to start, this movie has about 8 to 10 Autobots, and yet out of all of them, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, and Hot Rod have more screen time than any of the other Autobots. Drift, Hound, Crosshairs, and the Dinobots were basically just background characters. Like the mini Dinobots even had more screen time than the actual Dinobots, and they barely used the Dinobots in Age of Extinction, and used them even less in this movie. And I'm to the point that they really shouldn't have even brought the Dinobots into these movies at all. Anyway, I think the only reason that Hot Rod had as much screen time is because they really wanted to show that he and Bumblebee have some history between them, especially with that World War II flashback scene, which obviously I liked that part. While we're talking about the robot cast who didn't get much screen time, let's talk about the Decepticons. This was the most excitement I put into any of the characters in the movie, was for the Decepticons. Now, for being the leader of the Decepticons, Megatron, oh my god, he really didn't have a whole lot of screen time. I mean, even Barricade had more screen time than he did, and Megatron's freaking leader of the Decepticons. I had high hopes for Onslaught as well, and then in the first encounter between the Autobots and Decepticons, he gets his head sliced off by Drift. Mohawk did absolutely nothing for me. I mean, I didn't even like his motorcycle form. And what the hell is Nitro Zeus? What the fuck kind of stupid name is that? Who the fuck came up with his name? It's stupid. Anyway, onto the humans. They're all basically just bland and boring. Even our returning main character, Cade Yeager, he didn't really have much development at all. Izzy, who they hyped up in the trailers as this whole, girl power thing, did nothing at all and wasn't even in the movie very much. I mean, she's at the beginning of the movie, and then she disappears when they're and comes back when they're in the Ospreys and going to the final fight. She just happens to appear. And then there was that guy, a guy that worked for Cade and the Junkyard. I mean, I can't even remember his fucking name. That's how painfully pathetic he was. And then why in the world did they even put Simmons in there? I mean, he was literal embodiment of a phoned-in performance. And then there's Vivian, who just, happens to be a descendant of Merlin. But no, that's crap. That's just crap. I don't know where Sir Edmund Burton pulled that out of his ass. Except for plot reasons. And we all know that these movies pride themselves on showing off the military. There's just too many of these guys now. You've got TRF. Actually, that's really it. But there's too many of them. What else? Squeaks. That little dude, yeah, he sucked. I'm sorry if you liked him. Not trying to crap on you for him, but I have to say, he sucked. I know it's a kid's appeal character, but still, he didn't do anything for most of the movie, just like Izzy. Like, he just happens to show up, you know, and destroyed that gun turret. And that's it. I didn't care for his character at all. The biggest thing I had going into this film was the question of what happens to Galvatron. And they didn't even bother to answer that question. I mean, it's basically like they just forgot that Galvatron walked off at the end of Age of Extinction vowing to Optimus that he would return. And they were just like, Galvatron? Skip. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest pieces of marketing and the fact that Optimus Prime turns evil. Yes, he does. But, what bothered me is that when Quintessa does turn him evil, you know, Optimus is just all, I am Nemesis Prime now. They just slap the name on him, and it just doesn't feel like Nemesis Prime, you know? Yeah, she makes part of his face red, but who gives a fuck about his red face? And his eyes turn purple. Big fucking deal. Ain't even stay evil that long. And on top of that, you know, when they're in that ship underwater trying to get the staff, Prime just shows up out of nowhere. No explanation of, you know, how did he get back to Earth from Cybertron? They don't even show that. Maybe they filmed it and just cut it, but still. He just shows up, takes the staff, and leaves. Which flows into this next part, is fight between Prime and Bumblebee. That fight was just a letdown. You know. I mean, it just happens exactly as it does in the trailers. They fight. And then, you know, Cade throws himself in between them two for whatever. It's like, you idiot, get out of the way. It's robots fighting. You're gonna get yourself squished. And the fight just happens exactly in the trailers. And then, oh my gosh, what turns Prime back good? Oh, Bumblebee speaks! Power of love! Woo! Big fucking deal, right? That was crap. I'm sorry, but that was just complete and utter crap. And then Optimus Prime becomes good again and regrets whatever he did. Because story. Yeah, like, fuck you, audience. That's what Michael Bay said. The Infernicons was just wasted to lack of screen time. I mean, Megatron uses them once, and then, you know, Prime attacks them, they decombine, and then try to surround Prime, and Prime just kills them. In one swing of his sword, kills all of them. Heads gone. I mean, yeah, it was a cool scene, but come on. That was pathetic. Like, this series has never done anything good with combiners. Even Devastator was wasted in Revenge of the Fallen. And I mean, seriously, Infernicus was like the first new combiner we have had in a long time. I personally would have... I can't even speak, sorry. I personally would have liked to see Bruticus. I mean, they put Onslaught in the movie. In the 2007 Transformers movie, they put Brawl in it. And, you know, if they can resurrect Barricade, although we never actually see him die in Dark of the Moon, it's just assumed. They could have just magically resurrected Brawl, threw in the other Combaticons, and then boom, Bruticus. Would have been a lot better if you ask me. Also, I didn't like the way that the Infernicons formed Infernicus, you know. There's no actual combining, like, you know, the way Devastator combines in Revenge of the Fallen. That was awesome. But they just meld together to form this Infernicus thing, and it was stupid. It was just a stupid way of combining. Like they didn't even care how they combined. Yeah, and here we go. The one thing that I'm pretty sure everyone who's reviewed these movies, the pacing was just shit. I mean, there's no other way. It was perfect shit pacing. You know, it's just cut. You know, here's an idea. Nope, on to the next thing. Oh, here's another thing. On to the next thing. It's like they got the people who make movie trailers to cut and edit a full-length summer blockbuster film. And it just doesn't work, you know? Things just happen too fast. Of course, until the final fight scene, which, you know, that just drags out and gets boring. You know, like, towards the end of the fight scene, this was me. Are we done yet? This fight's getting boring, guys. That was me in the theater. Yeah. Optimus Prime's not even in this movie very much as the trailers make you think it. I mean, even in the final battle, like, all the Autobots, where's Prime? Where's Prime? Oh, I don't know where Optimus Prime is. And then, you know, about halfway through the fight, he just comes rolling in on Dragonstorm. Yeah, it's cool, but, you know, Optimus Prime's, like, the most badass character in these films. They need him. And he's just not there half the time. More than half the time, probably. This movie put way too much focus on the humans. And this is probably something people have been saying for a while. It's a fucking Transformers movie. I want to see fucking Transformers doing their, you know, fighting. It lacks actual Transformers, if you ask me. Let's see, what else? They never explain or show how Drift got his new vehicle form, other than because Bugatti didn't want to have their car in the movies anymore, because it's, you know, a $2 million car, which I can respect that, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, as much as I like everything about Megatron's new design, they actually lack an explanation of how they did that. You know, how did we go from Galvatron back to Megatron? Now, I find that the story, which this can be a good thing and a bad thing, the story was actually very simple in that, you know, they just needed a certain relic to save the planet. That was it. What fucked the movie up is that they just weave in too many subplots into the movie. Excuse me. They weave too many subplots into the movie, and then the main focus of the story gets lost, and all these subplots keep happening. What else? Towards the end of the movie, Prime all of a sudden just keeps saying, I am Optimus Prime, I am Optimus Prime, and after about the second time, that just got annoying. I would have liked to hear more of Steve Jablonsky's score in the movie. Now, as I stated in my likes section, Bumblebee gets his voice back, which is obviously long overdue. The issue is that there's only like 2 scenes that Bumblebee ever says anything. Now, one is when he and Optimus Prime fight, and he says something along the lines of, you know, Prime, it's me, or Prime, remember me. I can't remember the exact line. It's probably copyright anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. And then when Optimus is trying to kill Quintessa and Bumblebee comes from behind and he says, sting like a bee, or whatever. that was cheesy in itself. Whatever. So I just feel it was a waste to have Bumblebee talk at all in the movie. I mean, you're just paid a guy to say like 2 lines and that's it. Now, on to some of my big questions. They make it appear that Quintessa has been on Cybertron for a while. So, 1, I want to know if that's true. And 2, if it's true, and according to Prime, if she actually had something to do with the dying of Cybertron, which begs what most people, like myself included, would have thought and been known, that the Autobots and Decepticons Civil War was what destroyed Cybertron by using up all the Energon. And, of course, how is it that they can just ignore what happened in Age of Extinction? How can they just be like, Galvatron who? And like, I'm sure there's still other KSI drones out there somewhere. Which obviously leads to how Megatron gets his new look and how he becomes Megatron again. I know people have hypothesized things, but they don't show it in the film, and like people have said, maybe that bit did get cut from the film. Maybe they shot it and said, no, that ain't important, fuck that. But overall, I personally really liked the movie. I watch them because they're just good fun, not for a coherent plot, obviously. Even though the plot was simple enough anyway, I don't think it's the worst movie of 2017. I don't even think it's horrible. I don't think it's deserved all the hate people have been giving it. That's just me. Maybe I'm a Transformers Justice Warrior. I don't know. But that's my opinion. You're welcome to disagree, and I respect if you have a different opinion than mine. So that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching.